Hi everybody, welcome to this mentality tip. Now, what we've been doing with the mentality tip so far this year is talking about core warrior beliefs, how we develop beliefs or perceptions, the emotions that are attached to them, how we ultimately affect the actions that we take. Adding the belief or perception management, if you will, to our warrior training program is huge. It's an area in warrior training and warrior mindset training that is still relatively unexplored. It's something that it's like how they used to train people to focus more by telling them, hey, you need to focus more, so focus more. Just giving people or telling somebody that they have to learn how to manage their beliefs or manage their perceptions is not enough. You actually have to have a framework and tools that you can give people. And of course, the most important part of any tool someone can give you is it's in its application. It's somebody using that tool. So what I wanted to do was share with you guys what I call the top 10 core warrior beliefs. Now, to start this, it's probably going to be more than 10 of my beliefs that I want to share with you. But I want to, I just called it a top 10 list. I want to just share with you some of my beliefs, things that I have an absolute certainty about to an intense level of conviction. Now, the thing to understand with these beliefs is that every warrior that I've ever met that I have a high amount of respect for, that's helped me along my path and helped develop and nurture me, they have these same perceptions. Now, it's not because we try to emulate each other and say, oh wow, that's how that guy thinks, I'm gonna just think that same way. It's not enough to intellectually understand somebody's belief and then just verbally repeat it to everybody, or even trying to convince yourself. That's just denial. It's just you have to really feel these things. You have to go backwards and explore why these guys think and feel the way they feel. What were their experiences? What questions do they ask themselves? Why do they attach pain and pleasure to these things? Why do they see the world the way they see the world? Because it literally affects their actions. It affects their decisions. Okay, and so that's the whole goal of what we're doing here. Warriors, all warriors, real legitimate warriors, are going to share what we call immutable concepts. They're going to have the same immutable perceptions and beliefs. Now, there's going to be slight variances between these because everybody's an individual person. But at the root of their beliefs, their perceptions, their feelings, and their actions are going to be core principles. That's what we're trying to get across. That's what I'm hoping to be able to share with you. I'm going to have to probably do this mentality tip in a couple different parts. So let's just start off. You'll probably get this in 2 or 3 different videos because I can only do these at 10-minute intervals. So let's start off here. One of the first places I want to start is what I call an absolute beginning. The absolute beginning is so vital for warriors, and every client that I interview that I think about accepting into our program, during my phone interview or my face-to-face interview, what I'm looking for has nothing to do with the physical talent. What I'm looking for, or their physical attributes, is I'm looking for their mental state. I'm looking for a certain belief or perception. Now, I don't really care if they have a tremendous amount of emotional intensity or certainty to it. Most of them don't. But what they have somewhere at the beginning is they have some spark, or what I call an absolute beginning, an absolute core warrior belief. If you don't have this belief, then nothing that the training is going to expose you to is ever really going to be functionalized. Okay, it all's got to start from this one core perception or belief, and then as that builds, we add everything on and build around that. Okay, so now I know most of you, when I say this absolute beginning, I've said this to a lot of you guys already. It's not a secret, obviously, but it's one of those things where I think most people look at it one-dimensionally. They don't take the time. They intellectualize it, and they don't take the time to study and research this field, and you really need to, because when you start seeing how many layers there are to this belief, you start building it and reinforcing it through educating yourself about it, the true power that it holds. It is really going to be a catalyst or an impetus that's going to turn your training into fighting. Okay, it's what's really going to put you in a whole different ballpark. That's how important this is. So the rest of this first segment is you're going to be on the absolute beginning, and then what I feel is one of, just the number one highest priority core warrior belief. Okay, so let's jump into it. The first absolute beginning core warrior belief that you have to have, and again, it's going to be somewhat underwhelming when I say this for most of you, but you have to have a tremendous amount of emotional intensity and certainty to the belief that you have the right to life, liberty, freedom, and security, and not have your life, liberty, freedom, and security infringed upon. Okay, which is Section 7 of our criminal code. Now, one thing I want you to understand when I say that, most people right away, they draw a parallel. Oh yeah, of course, warriors have to have or understand they got a right to life. That's what we're doing here. We're taking self-defense training. We're learning to fight and defend ourselves and our families. Okay, go deeper than that for a second. Really look at why I'm saying that at an absolute core beginning, every person that I even think about selecting for this program, I probe them with questions and listening to what they're saying to me, and I'm trying to find in them somewhere some spark, some sense of a right to life, liberty, and freedom, and that they get somewhere in them on a visceral level how important this is. Let's examine this for a section, because as I earlier stated, it's part of our criminal code. It's section 7 of our criminal code. But before it became part of Canada's criminal code, it really came about through a much bigger cause, and that's the human cause. Okay, and that's the human rights. Now think about that term human rights for a second. Just by the virtue of being a human being, we are entitled to rights. Human rights across the world. Okay, there's a lot of power in understanding that. Now here's one of the things that warriors need to understand. Here's a layer of this. These human rights have come at a price. Okay, other human beings, other individuals, men and women, over centuries have paid a huge debt in blood, in tears, okay? They have paid this debt to create, to fight for, to develop these human rights. They weren't just there. They weren't just created with the heaven and the earth. You know what I mean? There has been a debt that has been paid to create these human rights. Now, the human rights obviously are the life, the liberty, the freedom. Now, in North American society in particular, there is both a gift and a curse. The gift is that you can be born, live a tremendously fulfilled life, and die, and you never have to directly, consciously pay the bill to that debt of having these human rights. You don't have to pay an ounce of your blood. You don't have to pay an ounce of tears. You don't have to pay an ounce of your sweat. That is the freedoms that we have for that others have bought us. Okay, you get what I mean? There's a huge, huge weight there. When you start to look beyond just the sense of criminal code, right to life, yeah, nobody can fuck with me, I can defend my life. You start to understand that there's a debt to be paid. This is so powerful for warriors, simply because warriors, when they understand how powerful the right to life, liberty, and freedom is, you understand that everything you have in this world is because you have the right to life, which means you have the right to live whatever type of life you want without interference from another human being. You can choose the job you want to choose. You can live where you want to live. You can change your entire life. At 10, at 15, at 35, at 55, at 85, you can do what you want to do. Okay, you can move where you want to move. You can go to school. You can do anything you want to do within reason. You really can. There's that type of freedom. Most people don't live their lives knowing that they have that type of freedom. They get bogged down by the circumstances of life, which is a whole nother lecture. But understand and feel the freedom that comes with understanding that we have the right to life, to live our life. You have the right to security. While you are living your life, doing what you choose to do, dress how you want to dress, behave how you want to behave, walk and talk how you want to talk, okay, within reason. So long as what we're doing is not interfering with another human being's right to life, we can do whatever we want to do. You have the security to do and live your life. The security to go out and earn a living. And to know that one man or one individual or group of individuals cannot just come in and walk into your house and say, that's it, I like this house, I'm taking this house, it's mine. They're interfering with your life, the legal system. There are things that have been put in place that have come about because of these human rights, okay, that allow us to have this security. But that is a huge debt that came with it. These things were not just there. Somebody paid a tremendous price for these things. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this mentality tip is I'm going to stop this one here. You're going to get, like I said, a series of these all in a row. So I want you to, rewatch this one if you need to, but let's jump to the next one and pick up from here. Okay, so I'll see you on the next mentality tip. Hang with me.